Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the best states for you as a federal employee to retire to that won't tax your federal income in retirement. That's what we're going to talk about today. But there's a lot of nuance here, right? Every state is different. The way they tax things are different, but we're going to try to do our best to cover the best states for you guys to show you what they tax, how they tax, and go there one step at a time. If you're new here, my name is Dallin Hawes, financial planner serving you guys as federal employees, making sure you guys can retire comfortable and confident while maxing out all of your great benefits. So let's dive right in. As a federal employee, you normally have three main income sources. You may have more, but you normally have these three main ones. You have your pension, you have your TSP, and your Social Security. They are all taxed a little differently. And long story short, on the federal level, you normally have to pay income tax on most of these income sources. The exceptions are for if you have Roth TSP, right? You may not have to pay income taxes on that. Your pension, you don't pay taxes on. The entire thing, there's a small portion, about 2 to 5%, that you don't have to pay taxes on because you actually paid a little into the system. For Social Security, you will probably pay about 85% of that is taxable income, okay? So that is the scoop there. On the federal side, it's hard to escape taxes. You got to pay federal income taxes. However, on the state side, there's a lot we can do depending on where you live. So let's dive down. Basically, every state has different rules, and some tax some income sources of yours and some don't tax others. So we're going to dive through, and the first we're going to look at is states that won't tax your Social Security income. Now, let me break this down for you. Every state has different tax rules. Some don't have income taxes, but they have property taxes or sales taxes. States have to have a way to generate revenue, just a matter of how. So what we're going to be focusing on today are those that first don't have income tax or exclude federal income from their income tax. So we're going to talk about those and how they all work. So again, states that won't tax your Social Security income are first Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. So those are the big ones that they will not tax your Social Security income, which is good. Again, you got to pay taxes on the federal level, but on the state level, you do not have to pay in those states. Next, states that won't tax your pension income, okay? Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, Wyoming, New Hampshire, Alabama, Illinois, Hawaii, Mississippi, Pennsylvania. Now, I have a big asterisk here. So some states, such as New York, they don't tax federal pensions. However, they do tax some private pensions. So you want to double check in. And here's the deal. The rules for every state, they change over time, right? So this is based on today, but these rules change over time. You want to make sure that the state you're planning to retire to is tax-friendly enough to make your plan work. And even if you retire to a state that's maybe not retiree-friendly, as long as the numbers work, and maybe there's a great reason for you to be there. I'm not saying you shouldn't retire into a place that maybe isn't as friendly. You just want to know the ramifications, okay? So again, some states, such as New York, they actually exclude, they won't tax your federal pensions, but they might tax other pensions depending on what type of pension it is. Okay, states that won't tax your TSP income: Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, Wyoming, Illinois, Mississippi, Pennsylvania. Now, you'll see a lot of these show up, a lot of these states show up multiple times, right? And the reason is these 9 states right here don't have state income taxes at all, okay? Meaning they don't tax income, right? When basically on the federal level, when you earn income is when you pay taxes. On the state level, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's property taxes, whatever. There's different ways to generate revenue, but these states don't have income taxes, right? So again, that's why they keep showing up time and time again, because if they don't tax the income at all, then yeah, of course they're not going to tax your TSP or your Social Security or your pension, okay? Now, this is just as a side note, these states don't have sales tax, okay? Alaska, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, and Oregon. So again, there's a million different factors on the tax friendliness, the factors that make up the tax friendliness of a certain state, right? But the classics like Texas, Florida, there's a reason many people retire to those places. First, the weather's good, right? Second, they tend to be very tax friendly. Now, as you can see, they're not the only states that are tax friendly, but there's some of them. So here, hopefully, will give you a start to looking at different states to potentially retire to. Now, again, like I mentioned before, I'm not saying you can't retire in a higher tax state, right? It may make sense for you because you have family there, and maybe you just want to be there, and that's wonderful. And honestly, if you been working there for a while, you probably know the tax ramifications where you probably got used to it, right? And we love to save money in retirement, but sometimes it's worth just being close to family and close to friends and close to colleagues. And so keep that in mind as well, that just maximizing every last cent is not the goal of our life, right? The goal of our life is to maximize our life and use our money to support that. And sometimes we could maximize and kind of get a little more juice out of our money by just moving to a place where, hey, we pay less taxes. Why not? Why not? So food for thought here. If there's any other thoughts, maybe if you are retired already or thinking about retire, please put in the comments below of what you're planning to do, where you're planning to go, and why, whether it's for the weather, for the family, for the whatever, for the home prices, for the cost of living, right? Maybe you go to a place with no sales tax, but the cost of living is atrociously high. Well, that's probably going to hurt your retirement as well. You want to make sure the whole picture makes sense. And you're not focused on these small little details, but you forget the big picture. So this article that I'm sharing here on the YouTube channel, it's going to be on the website. And just like a million other articles and videos, there's a bunch on YouTube, podcast on the website on HawesFederalAdvisors.com. You can go get in the description below a free book on the TSP. There's tons of resources about everything about how you can maximize your benefits. So definitely check those things out if you're trying to maximize your retirement, right? And I hope that's helpful. You guys have an incredible rest of your day. We'll see you guys next time.